Life's a game, the world's a stage, and we are merely role players. And we are merely tired role players, I think, after quite a long campaign.
13 whole hours.
13 whole hours has passed. Well, not actually. It's 7 hours, really. 8 if you include you did go back in time. We should do introductions again. Hello, I'm Nat. I have been Maladith, your Goblin Queen, for this series of The Labyrinth. Please, players, introduce yourselves and who you played.
Hello, I'm Matt Boothman, and I was playing Gundle, the messed-up-looking bird.
I'm Ellie. I was playing Sir Barold von Branwick, a Knight of Yore.
I'm Strat. I was playing Winkle the Worm.
Hi, I'm Helen. I was playing Linda, the Horned Beast.
You made it. You defeated the Goblin Queen in the Labyrinth. Woo! Well done. That was a long session, team. So thank you for sticking with me and bringing your enthusiasm and silliness and joy all the way through this, because I had a blast.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm really glad you did, because I know it's like close to your heart.
Yeah, thank you for prepping. You clearly did so much work to like work out how this system could work as a one-shot and work out exactly which bits to pick and all that kind of stuff.
And so many characters to play.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I think they all kind of bottle down to my usual hag voice.
Yeah, but the hags all did have different accents. So.
Differently accented hags. The only one actually that I'd sort of pre-thought of that we didn't meet, and this is on me actually because you didn't roll, and I maybe should have thrown them in as just something you passed in was we didn't meet any Fireys. And I'd made the decision actively because in the film the Fireys are all Jamaican or heavily accented African American. I was like, I'm going to make them Brummy to be like the beetle vultures. That was my plan.
Nice.
Very good.
I love that.
But we didn't get around to them.
Were there any other rooms that you'd bookmarked that you wish we'd done?
That I wish you'd done. I mean, there were loads of, basically for each area there were 21 or 22 rooms total, and I picked 6 plus, like each one you're theoretically supposed to always go to the first room of each one. It's
such a thick book, and so little of it is the character creation and the rules.
Yeah. We didn't go to the oubliette. There was an entire encounter of the Brick Keepers who we sort of threw in. We saw little scattered bits of them. I tell you what, in the Land of Yore, there was a badger who was having a tea party and you all had to obey the rules, but no one would tell you the rules. And I think that one would have been...
That's real Alice in Wonderland vibe.
It's very Alice in Wonderland, which is obviously very appropriate for this group. But yeah, I think that one, and then there was a duel, which I thought would have been nice, but we did get quite a lot of fighting and dueling and stuff.
Yeah, including in the puppet show.
Including in the puppet show. So I'm not too mad about it. And then obviously when we got into the Goblin City, we were running a bit low on time, so I took the dice roll away from you and I was like, nope, you're seeing the boutique and getting a disguise, and you're going to the puppet show. That's it.
Which was there.
Both bangers.
Yeah. I can't imagine better places to go in the Goblin City.
We got a nice mix of like stuff that's not in the film, stuff that they just came up with for the book, and then greatest hits like the Bog of Eternal Stench, which you've got to have.
Yeah. Is it a labyrinth for that one?
There are, in the Yore section, I think there's maybe 3 or 4 rooms that reference the bog. So you're quite likely to encounter it.
You're always bog adjacent.
Yeah. Bog adjacent. Oh, I tell you what, actually in the Goblin, in the castle beyond the Goblin City, there were 4 rooms that you didn't go to. So I'll quickly rattle through those so you know.
And did we have any super near misses with the Goblin Queen before we caught her?
She was in the armoury and she left it just as you arrived, Winkle. But she headed into, and that's why I rolled for it, because obviously me and Nat knew there was a safe way for her to go, and I didn't want to metagame it. I think she was in the staircase as well, but she's not affected by the staircase, obviously.
No, of course.
But I think it was like 2 turns ahead of you, so it wasn't. And then you got stuck in there.
Yeah, and then I blew it.
But she started. Wait, was that right? No, she started off in the tower. That was it, and you were several turns behind her.
Yeah.
And the birds. I guess you could have asked if she'd been here, but you scared them.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't think that way. Can this person give me information? No. And it doesn't even occur to me to ask as a rule.
I don't think I'd fully clocked until this moment that, because we were asking people, has she passed through here? And people were saying not in the last 6 hours.
Yeah.
I hadn't fully clocked that if we did find somewhere that she had been and asked a person in there, they might say she was here half an hour ago.
That's what would have happened, wouldn't it?
But yeah.
You know, not in the last 2 hours. But,
yeah, and that's how we could have narrowed down on her if we hadn't just lucked it.
Yeah.
But you'd have had me the closest to her, not having asked.
We knew the risks when we split up. There was a risk that Winkle would fall into problems that couldn't be overcome by a small person.
Yep.
Yeah.
There were quite a few of those,
You
it
were
turned
quite
out.
unfortunate in the route that you took.
I was.
But that is the risk. Obviously, all of these challenges are quite challenging and they're designed for groups to do, but also you can split up. It's harder. So you didn't make it into the dungeon, where there's a couple of prisoners in there that you could help escape, cause carnage. You didn't make it into the library, where there's lots of law books, histories of the labyrinth, and more information about the collapse of good governance. But I'd remembered that was a thing, and I figured just in case you didn't make it there, I wanted to throw that in there as a little suggestion for you. Oh, you didn't make it to the map room either, which has a giant map in the centre with little pawns that show every denizen of the labyrinth.
Whoa.
So you can see where you are.
That's like active.
Active, yeah, you can't move the pieces. And you can see where the Goblin Queen is. She is one of the pieces.
Oh, that's cool.
And then the final room you didn't... Oh, no, there are a couple more, actually. You didn't make it to the ballroom, obviously, which you could, if you'd have touched the crystal ball, it would have transported you there. And you get swept up in the dance.
Yeah, I feel like Sir Barold of the beginning of the story would have absolutely touched the crystal ball, but he learned a few lessons along the way about not being quite so naive.
Character growth. And then the final one, which, I don't know, part of me is... I think if I was running this offline... off-air so the wider world can't hear it, I would have been disappointed that we didn't get to, but this is a tricky one because we're recording in Ellie's kitchen. The simulacrum looks exactly like the room the players are playing in.
Right.
So I would have had to basically say, we're playing in Ellie's kitchen and everyone has to imagine it, rather than me slowly describing details and you having a slow dawning of, oh no, it's here. Just for your privacy.
I do have a lot of weird stuff in my kitchen that I don't want to know about.
Check our Instagram.
So if people look at the maps of the different rooms, there is this one room that has just a big question mark in the middle.
I was wondering what that was.
That's that one. So those are some of the rooms that you didn't make it to.
How much guidance is there on creating the character of the Goblin Queen or King? Because I really liked your imagining for the Goblin Queen. I thought she was like a very cool, fully formed character that mirrored the kind of personality of the film version, but felt entirely of its own type as well.
There is a double-page spread of it's Goblin King in the book. It assumes Goblin King, but I was like, I'm playing a green. And it's more in terms of it's more about running the game itself.
Yeah.
So there aren't specific tips on this is how you should play the Goblin King. But again, I was like, well, she's got to be close enough to Jareth for you to be afraid, uncertain, slightly attracted to.
Nailed it.
Yeah, great.
Uncomfortably sexy.
Yes, good.
I just wonder if it's uncomfortably sexy because of the tightness of the trousers.
Yes.
It's always because of the trousers.
Does anyone have any stars or, I say wishes, we're not really going to play this one again, but...
We've talked a little bit already about some paths not travelled.
Yeah.
Can I throw an immediate star out for the rhyme battle?
Oh, yes.
For all participants, I essentially ended up sitting that one out. I was not fast enough on the draw for that game.
I was amazed at how quickly you two came up, Helen and Strat, you came up with responses to that.
We do it at home.
Yes, that's our relationship.
Should have heard that wedding vows.
No, it was good fun. Yeah, and so I could immediately see where you were going to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I started responding in the rhyme.
Yeah.
Which is good because, as we've just established, I don't always sort of get the memo with what I'm supposed to do as a player. So for me to be like, oh, I could do this one. There's a clue, a cue for how to behave. I'll pick that up and do that thing. Yes.
That was a beautiful scene. What you were marking things down during that, and I can see little double dashes.
So the double dashes, basically, you had to provide, within 10 seconds, you had to provide a response that rhymed, gives you 1 point. And if it was a comeback that made sense, it was another point. And you nailed it both times.
So we could have just said nonsense as long as it rhymed, and we'd still have got a point.
A point, yeah.
And then the maths you did?
So I did less rounds, because again, time, than the original one. The original one is you do 10 rounds, and if you get all of them right, you overwhelmingly win, and the Goblin Queen King winds time backwards to gain you an hour. But you'd already gained an hour, so I was like, eh. But if you got less than 10 points, you lose an hour. If you got less than 5 points, you lose 2 hours.
Oof.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But I don't think you were ever in danger of that, by the looks of it.
That was fun. That one was fun. Almost fun as the opera, which I think is the other star, just because we went really weird with it. Yeah. We got the memo there as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're provided with such strange props and things.
Yeah.
And the title, it makes it pretty clear that it's got to be nonsense.
Yeah. And there's so many tables on. I think that's one of the scenes where there's the most tables of things to add and what could go wrong.
Heckles for every act.
Heckles for every act, and each one there was a positive reaction and a negative reaction. So, for example, you included a death but not a funeral, so you didn't include the prompt that the goblin gave you, which is why you got a negative reaction. And you needed to get 2 positive reactions out of 3 to appease the goblins, otherwise you would have been chased.
Oh, okay.
So you just succeeded.
Oh, wow, that was close.
Squeaked it.
A star I really enjoyed. I enjoyed all the characters that you portrayed, Nat, but in particular the shop owner.
Oh, yes.
Who was styling us all.
She was a lot of fun.
The voice was great, and I just loved that she was so invested in selling outfits that she was very clearly overlooking that we were absolutely obviously not.
Well,
Did she really think we were goblins?
No, she was about to accuse you of not being goblins, but she found Gundle so intimidating. You intimidated her.
That's why.
Into helping you
Right.
instead. But she still wanted payment, obviously.
Yeah. No, I just loved her patter.
Yes.
Really enjoyable.
And thank you for my tower of rats.
So
You're
gross.
very welcome.
I just hope to be a worm on stilts and let our listeners work out how on earth that would work. But a pile of rats, more than I could have possibly imagined.
It's such a clear visual.
It really is.
I was originally going to do a similar sort of, you just imagine how this works, to how Gundle actually paints.
Yeah.
But then the image of standing on one leg and the other leg coming up and grasping stuff out of the bag
So
came,
nice.
and it was good.
It was very nice for you to have be a player and be in a character like that. I really enjoyed it. So thank you. And that wouldn't have been possible if you hadn't been the Goblin Queen, Nat. So thank you, and bringing this and bringing the idea of the game to mini role players at all. Thank you very much.
Well, once I read it, when I saw it was a thing. Obviously, I got a copy for Christmas two Christmases ago. So when I saw it was a thing, I was like, I have to, I must. And then reading it, because Matt and we'd already been in discussion about if at any point I had a game that I wanted to run for the team, then I could suggest it. And once I read it, I was like, I feel like it will be a long one, but we could do it. We could do it.
Yeah.
And I knew that we'd had discussions about so during the pandemic, during the lockdown, we'd watched The Labyrinth together online, right? So I actually knew that you 5 at least had watched it, and I think there were a couple of others on the team that were on that call as well, and some other friends. So I knew that even if it wasn't something that you'd grown up with, you would get you'd watch the film at least, and you'd get the vibe. So
Yeah.
and we all love Muppets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We do have that in
Thank you for the opportunity to be a Muppet. Probably the closest I'll get.
You were very Muppety.
Yeah.
Actually, Matt, I wanted to give you a star for the witticisms that you came out with. There were so many, but the one that when you said it, I was like, I have to remember to mention that in the debrief, was when you were zinging back and forth with the shop goblin.
Yeah.
And said, people always follow fashion, but what about style?
Yeah.
The snobbery flaw, which was not in the book, I just decided to do it. Just gave me so much leeway to be a bitch. Enjoyed
It's
immensely.
great. I saw a whole side of you that I've never seen before.
And I would like to give you a star, Matt, for the commitment to painting your frescoes as well.
I was on standby to have a dilemma moment, if I could hear somebody in real trouble down the corridor, to have one of those Gundle looks at the frescoes and looks down the corridor and looks at the frescoes and looks down the corridor and I think it would have been character growth for Gundle to realise that actually if these are in the Goblin Palace and the goblins are looking at them all the time, maybe it's okay for the goblins to like them rather than for them to be to my taste. I don't even live here. But he never had to have that revelation.
I think it's quite a tricky line you were treading though, because you had to be sort of a snob and to some extent selfish and really focused on your goal, but also just not a total arsehole to the people that you're travelling with. Because I think it would be very easy to go down the line of it being transactional and you only sort of sticking with everyone in order to get to where you wanted to go, but it didn't feel like that, which was much more fun to play with.
Playing the Hoggle character effectively.
And actually, on the topic of Hoggle, there is the opportunity and possibility of betrayal and forced betrayal.
Forced betrayal?
Then one of the rooms, the Goblin Queen can force one of the players to betray the others, or entice one of the others to betray as well, and give you the title of betrayer. I'm
kind of sad and pleased we didn't do that then.
So many feelings.
I know that we were actively looking for opportunities to give you Steed, Ellie, and I think there were other rooms where you might have been able to get. So there was an aviary where you could have got another bird to ride upon, and there were probably other things that we could have found you as well, but I quite enjoyed the little privet hedge.
Yes.
Was cute.
Yes, I was really pleased. Thanks for all facilitating.
The sheepdog's idea was very good.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm trying to think through other stuff. It feels like so long ago.
Yeah.
It's been such a long day.
I've been here for weeks.
I'm trying to think of specific Linda stuff, because I really enjoyed Linda a huge amount throughout this.
Yeah, I think the challenge of performing a character that is supposed to be a little, few words, is huge, and you did it really beautifully. And I liked the emotional depth that she had, just with some noises.
Yeah.
Linda's just putting this up.
I think when I was putting this character together in my head, the big feelings was like a core thing, and I feel like that comes from when you first see Ludo and he's so clearly in distress. So I'm really glad that we saved the
Rufo.
Rufo. I was going to say I'd have been sad if we didn't. Actually, that's not what would have happened. I'd have used the strength and I'd have basically dominated you all into making sure that we saved him. So,
Luckily we were on the same page.
Yeah. I think Linda was good fun. I really enjoyed it.
I think just the big shouts.
Yeah.
Yes. I liked the bit with the junk ladies where they were giving you things, and I love that Linda was like, oh, I would quite like that actually. That's very nice.
There is the possibility with the junk ladies. Now, obviously, I think this room. There's a situation where the player's knowledge is possibly at a detriment because you all assumed the worst.
Yeah,
they actually can help you find items, and you can take the items with you. It's just that if you want something specific, it's going to take time.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a mechanic where the junk ladies can provide any item, everyday item that the players can imagine, but the difficulty is equal to the number of syllables in the item's description.
Oh, wow. In description?
Yes. And so if it's more than 6 syllables, it's nigh on impossible.
Wow.
And after 3 failures, you lose an hour.
Oh.
So you could lose time, but you get these items.
Okay. But no, player history came into it, and we all went, no, too scared.
Yeah, they're the worst ones here.
Yeah, we were. So when Ellie and I watched this with Strat a couple of last week, like you could sort of see and feel the fear that he had as a child of that scene. Like, yeah, you can hear it in our earlier recording where he goes, "That's the worst bit. That's the scariest bit." It's absolutely true. So I think we just sort of all go on high alert on his behalf around the junk ladies.
Yes,
Yeah, that bit was whizzed on quite a bit when I was much younger. It was like, no, not that bit.
Fast forward.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say that there is a pre-roll table of junk that they can just give you without you asking, and it is all of the things they give Sarah.
I thought, because there's the rabbit, and then there was
the little horsey printing game, Lancelot, the teddy bear, a lipstick, a bunny rabbit, dear old Flopsy, who's a doll, Betsy Boo, who's a doll, the ballerina music box, a copy of the Wizard of Oz.
Betsy Boo.
Yeah. Panda slippers.
Oh.
All that.
Winkle just spent that whole room having a lovely tea in a teapot.
Staff that.
For committing to that while there were so many stares coming at you from around the table. I'm like,
The audacity.
are you sure?
Yes.
Ellie and I aren't hostile people on the whole, but if Strat's misbehaving in the game, it might start to feel that way.
I think that's my star for you as players, is everyone's commitment to your flaws and the opportunity to fuck up. Right? To stay and have a cup of tea with the missus, because it's so enticing, because it is one of the tropes of the game, to charge in regardless of whether you have a plan other than running headfirst towards.
Yeah, I don't know if you know, but Ellie Pitkin doesn't like not having a plan and just doing stuff anyway. But I did that like 8 times today.
It was great.
Character growth for you.
It was
Didn't it
great.
go so well?
Yeah, it did actually. It really did.
Pretty well.
You saved everyone.
Well, it would have just been one of us that did it though.
No, but it was nice.
You were in the right
was
place
nice.
at the right time, but it was you.
I was hoping that whoever did it would be able to do a bit about how the real prize is friendship, rather than like all the things we were actually after.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that happened.
What do you think your characters would do with the labyrinth afterwards?
Big theme park.
You can go back into it. There's a couple of suggestions in the book. What happens now that you're free to leave the labyrinth at any time? Do you go explore the real world? Do you stay in the labyrinth? Do you take over now the Goblin Queen is not there? Do you change the democratic system? Get rid of the monarchy? Or do you just leave it to anarchy? What do you do?
Go explore and see new things, I think, for Gundle.
More things to paint.
Yeah, get new perspectives, and maybe starting to have that thought of maybe other people's aesthetics aren't so terrible. He's got to go off and take more in from more places. Suddenly realises this place he thought was very big is actually only a very small thing, and he can expand beyond it.
Linda's got a lot of writing to do because this is the epic tale of her life.
Yeah.
She's written a lot of epic poetry before, but despite not being able to remember it, I'm pretty sure that this will have been the most significant thing, and definitely will need some committed writing time.
I think as soon as you put quill to paper, you'll remember the details.
Yeah. But I definitely trust these two to set up a new judiciary, if that's what you would like to do.
Oh, well, Winkle is going to set up a new night school for worms. And soon the labyrinth will be full of worms mounted upon the backs of rats.
Who don't have knighthoods.
Well, no, because we've become knights through our own good
training.
deeds and helping rebuild the labyrinth and going around helping people.
Yeah, it
you don't
shouldn't be-
need medals to be a knight.
It shouldn't be about the honour system, it should be about true honour.
Exactly.
Quite right.
Everybody is given a sword and a rat.
Every time you commit a great deed, you get to add another rat to the stat.
Yes. Absolutely. Oh god, it's like one of those terrible mobile game ads where you're the small monkey and you become the big monkey. No, it won't be like that. It will be but stacks of rats just everywhere.
I wanted to very quickly sidebar. There was one room that I didn't include in this set because it just was not enough space in the Land of Yore. Too many good things in the Land of Yore.
Yeah.
But there's an encounter called Worm Moot, where the 3 most important worms in all of the labyrinth have met to discuss the trouble that the party is causing and what to do about it. But one of the options instead is that one of the worms thinks that the Goblin Queen is doing a bad job and decides that the travellers have come to depose the Goblin Queen and want to set themselves up as new rulers and recommend that all creatures join this rebellion. And so worms leading rebellions. Great.
Amazing.
I think Sir Barold's going to be torn between the sort of gallant thing of staying and helping to change it into a more positive societal structure, but also the urge to just charge on to the next new thing. So maybe would be happy leaving things with his best friend. Winkle the worm. And charge on right into sunset. Maybe I would accompany.
Yeah. I need a
bird friend.
To new
I
adventures.
need a bodyguard.
Lovely. Well, with that, I think we're done. Thanks, team.
Thank you.
Hooray.
This has been Labyrinth Untold, a studio production from Merely Roleplayers, starring me, Matt Boothman, as Gundle, Ellie Pitkin as Sir Barold von Branwick, Helen Stratton as Linda, Strat as Winkle, and Natalie Winter as the Goblin Queen. Nat planned this season, I edited and produced this episode, and the theme music is by Alexander Pankhurst. We were playing Jim Henson's Labyrinth The Adventure Game by Ben Milton and Jack Caesar, published by Riverhorse at riverhorse.eu. Merely Roleplayers is a Foggy Outline production in association with Blackshaw Theatre Company. Until next time, if drama be the food of life, play on. Foggy Outline. Undivide your world.